to the Shoot to Hell podcast, a podcast for any and all creatives. My name is Martin Depict. I'm a photographer, videographer, and graphic designer based in Los Angeles. Today, I want to start the video off a little bit differently. So I have just received the 24 to 105 f2 weight, and I figured why not do a little bit of an unboxing here at the beginning. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so this is the box that it comes in. Ignore the fingerprints. I've been really excited to open it, and I've been holding out up until this point. So as you can tell, I've been holding on to the box a lot since I got it this morning. But there it is, 24 to 105 f2.8 L USM Z. So the Z is supposed to stand for zoom, power zoom. So they're planning to make other lenses like this. Basically, they have a zoom motor that attaches to the lens, and then you can just sort of like zoom in and out by just sort of pressing the buttons on it. I'm just covering up the serial number here. So let's just open it up here. I have held out all day for this moment. So paperwork, just sort of putting that to the side here. More paperwork. And then here is the lens. Let's throw this on the floor. One of the few lenses that actually comes with an actual case. Wait, let's do that one more time and hold it up to the microphone. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Got the hood. This is the lens hood right here. And then this is the lens itself. Oh, with the strap. It comes with the strap. Jesus, how many times do they have to wrap this thing? Okay, we got bubble wrap, and then we have another wrap. Here it is. No barcodes on it. So the barcodes... Sometimes, I mentioned that because when I rented it, there's usually like a barcode sticker. So now this one is mine. And so this is actually where the zoom sort of machine will attach to. So they'll just sort of attach here on these two screws. And then you should have two buttons here to just sort of like zoom in and out. And this is all an internal zoom lens. It has two buttons on it. I'd probably put these to like false color maybe. Actually, maybe one to false color and then one to slow motion. But it feels nice. Oh, and then here's the aperture ring. Right there. Right now it's set to auto. How do I unlock it? Hold on. Here it is, the iris. Unlock the iris. And it's a nice smooth rotation. There's no clicks. So it's made for video. Then I just sort of like hold this down and then put it to auto, and then it locks into auto here. So once it's in auto, I can't change it again. So this is amazing, honestly. One thing that's important about lenses. Ooh, that looks nice. Untouched glass. Okay, so one thing that's important about lenses is that I always get a UV filter for them. And so here's a UV filter. This is a BW filter. So a UV filter is just sort of like a clear filter. Some of them cause flares. That's understandable. So I get, I get some people don't like using them, but honestly, when you have a piece of glass, when you have a lens that's this expensive, it's probably good for you to have a filter on it, because I would much rather have the filter break if you bump it into something than the lens break. There you go. Pristine. And then the lens cap should just fit on top of this. Oh, shit. Oh, what the fuck? This lens cap. This is the first filter that doesn't fit the lens cap. Maybe that's why it came with this thing. What do you guys think? Does that matter? I don't know about this. Maybe I have to go return it and exchange it for another lens cap. I mean, honestly, as long as it's protected, it's fine, but I don't know. This thing right here, you can remove this. So you just unscrew it here. And then hold this button and slide it out. So just in case if you don't want this. This is to mount it on your tripods. Typically, when you have a lens this big, you would mount the lens to your tripod and not your camera. So I'm just going to keep that on. And then it does have a guide here. So you know where's center. And then if you want to rotate it, you can rotate it vertical, or if you want horizontal, it works. I'm just going to lock it there. I'm stoked on this. Here's the back piece. 12 pins on the EF glass. I mean, on the RF glass. So the 12 pins are supposed to make it so it connects to the camera a little bit faster and better for improved speed for autofocus. But honestly, Sony has been doing just fine with however many pins that they have. I know it's less than 12, but last part, let's put the hood on. So the lens hood. You can't even put it on with this filter. See, this is, I don't know about this. Nice. It goes on this way as well. This is a pretty small lens hood for the zoom range. Like I would assume because it goes up to 100, I would assume it would be a little bit deeper, but honestly, not mad at how small this is. I'm still getting used to this weird cover, but it works. Nice. So there you have it. That is the unboxing of the 24-105 f2.8Z. All right, let's get back to it. I don't think I've been this happy to get a lens in a while. You know, probably not since my 28-70 f2. It just feels nice to have something that is different, something that will cover a lot of your bases. I definitely do think that this lens, although it is expensive, it covers you for so many things. You could do portraits with it. You can shoot video with it because it has IS, image stabilization built in. It's f2.8 the whole way through. So I guess the best way to describe it is how versatile it is. I think if I'm now going on shoots and stuff and I would only show up with this lens, I don't think I need anything else, to be honest. Like I probably just need this and a camera and I'd be good. Let's put this thing in its case here. And then the straps that it came with, the straps are actually for the case. So I don't see myself using the straps often, but it's good to have, you know. There you have it. Let's actually talk about gear in itself, because I would say that I have gear acquisition syndrome. So gas is definitely one of those things that you hear a lot of people on social media talk about. It's definitely a real thing. The thing is that there's things that you need and things that you don't need. I think that as a working photographer, I think you can justify the purchase if it makes your workflow faster, easier, if you see it helping you progress. I think just buying things for the sake of having it is maybe not the smartest thing to do. For instance, like in the last episode, we talked about the Q2, getting that or the X100V. For me, I went with the X100V because I didn't necessarily need it. That was just sort of like a everyday carry camera, and that's something that I just wanted to walk around and to have for fun. So, if it was something for work, I always sort of try to justify the purchases of my cameras for work. The reason why I got the R3 after having the R5 was because storage space. So the R5 shoots 45 megapixel pictures or files, and then the R3 is shooting 24 megapixel files. So me justifying, there's no point in me using the R5 if I'm shooting content that's only going to be posted on social media. The R5 should only be for commercial work, stuff that you need the size for. So things like product photography. If I'm doing e-com, most likely I'm using the R5. If I'm doing anything that's going like on a billboard or things of that nature, I'm for sure going to be using the R5. The R3 is a great camera. I have not sort of run into any issues. Matter of fact, when I first started shooting, cameras were only up to like 12 megapixels. They didn't start getting up into the 20s probably until 2012, 2014. There's cameras out now that have like 50 megapixels, 61 megapixels with the Sony A7R5, and now 100 megapixels with the Hasselblad. That's insane to me. Like, you can definitely shoot a billboard with 16 megapixels and be just fine. And I have when I was shooting with Nikon. But the fact is, when you have those images when you have those pixels, you can use them. And so it's probably better for you to sort of have the best image quality possible. So that's how I justify the R3, is that I don't always need 50 megapixels. Also, it's about storage, right? Because I'm not trying to fill up all these terabytes with images that are just going to be posted on social media. I think that's why people who purchase a Sony, FX3 now, I think that is a really good camera, because although it has a really small sensor, it captures great video. It's made primarily for video, but if you wanted to take pictures on that thing, you can take great pictures on that thing. I would actually love to get my hands on one and shoot a portrait in the studio, sort of like show the quality of pictures that it can take and how they look on social media compared to something to the R5 or the Sony A7 R4 or R5, because you don't need that many megapixels when you're posting on social media. Primarily, most people that are creating nowadays are for social purposes, whether you're getting hired by a brand, whether you're working with influencers or celebrities directly. Most of that content is going to live on social media. As a matter of fact, I know people who shoot for companies and just use their phone. So, having all those megapixels, sometimes it overcomplicates things. So I don't know. That's me just sort of justifying it. I definitely know that I have some sort of issue in gear acquisition or gas. I definitely have a gas issue. So, I don't know. Shoot me. The next lens that I do plan on getting this year, which has been already confirmed by Canon, is going to be the 35 millimeter f1.2. And that lens, 35 millimeter is my favorite focal length. I love 35 millimeter. I used the 35 1.4 on my Nikon almost religiously. Almost never took that lens off. I just love the fact that you can use 35 millimeter to sort of capture not only portraits, There's a little bit of warping that goes on at that focal length, but it's not too crazy. And then, but what's great about 35 millimeter is that you can still capture a scene. Like you can still, if you wanted to create not just photos, but also capture maybe like the environment as well, I think 35 millimeter is like the perfect focal length. Some people might argue and maybe it's 24, but 24, I think you get way too much warping at that point. But moving on, I wanted to actually talk about something in the graphic design realm, because I know I open this podcast every time, and this is now my 10th podcast. And I mentioned that I'm a photographer, videographer, and graphic designer. I've been a graphic designer for a long time, and if you've been following me on my Patreon, you'd see that, you know, I'm comfortable working in a bunch of different formats. So it was definitely something that I was very passionate about. I'm still very passionate about it, but I wanted to talk about a big redesign that happened 2 weeks ago now. So the Clippers did a redesign of their logo. Obviously, they're moving into their new stadium in Inglewood. And so I wanted to sort of critique it. Obviously, keep in mind, I'm a Laker fan, so I'm not going to hold anything back. But I do want to critique it and sort of like give my thoughts on it. I'm going to be as non-biased as possible. Obviously, I know that this is a different team, a different LA team that I root for. But I think it's cool, you know? Like, I can respect the fact that I can expect the graphical nature of a lot of stuff. So first, let's take a look at the players. So here's the new look for the Clippers. So the Los Angeles Clippers, 2024-2025, make waves is their tagline. And it's clear that they're going for a nautical theme. The Clippers font on their jerseys itself, it's not much different. I think it's the same font that they've used forever. But that Los Angeles font over here on this side, that's new. That is sort of, it kind of reminds me of like the Michelin Ness font that they use on their hats. It's sort of like that. I believe it's meant to be maybe like a rope or maybe like a ribbon or something in the script of that nature. But it's pretty dope. I don't mind it. I love the LA icon already. Like here on the waist strap of Kawhi and on Harden, you see that LA sort of like the L sort of elongated along the bottom of the A. I think it's going to be clean. I think it's pretty amazing. Let's sort of take a look at the logo and see how they broke that down. So here is the breakdown of the logo. So a strong and stylized mark that illustrates movement and precision while paying homage to the team's nautical heritage. The silhouette of an incoming ship, a nod to the team's origins in the San Diego harbor. That's pretty dope. I can respect that. Compass, cardinal direction pointing north to the N in Los Angeles, providing timeless direction. That is actually very clever. The fact that the N in Los Angeles lines up perfectly right there in that midpoint. I love when things work out perfectly like that in design, to where like you maybe just put the words there and then you added this sort of compass design on top of it, and then you notice that the N was perfectly right there. Or maybe it was slightly off, and then you just adjust the kerning of the letters to just sort of make it so it's right there in the middle. It's amazing. That's probably like a happy accident. I don't think that happened on purpose. I think it was a happy accident for sure. The whole of the ship set off with the seams of the basketball. Okay, that's pretty good. Custom typeface inspired by naval typography. Okay, so my initial thoughts of the logo is that the whole logo itself is a little bit complicated. I think that it could have done just as well with just the letter C, and the compass. The fact that they tried to add the ship here and then the ball, I think the ball is a good touch, but they could have sort of maybe put the ball in the middle of the compass. But this is sort of the final design. This is what they're going to be using in next season. So, you know what? Like, I know they spend a lot of money when they do typical redesigns for this. Like, I know they spend a lot of money on stuff like this. And I think the biggest thing, my biggest issue with this, is that there's a little bit of a disconnect. They're moving to Inglewood, right? Like, the city is primarily Hispanic and black. Like I looked this up. So census.gov states that Inglewood is 49.3% Hispanic Latino. It's 39.5% Black or African American, and 17.3% is white. And then the rest are split up between Asian, Hawaiian, two or more races mixed and stuff. You just moved the team to a city that's primarily ethnic, and then this is very, I mean, I can count on one hand how many times I've been on a boat, so it's not very relatable to the audience there. But I'll get to that a little bit later because I have there was like a concept, or there's currently a concept of a jersey that Mr. Cartoon did for, the last couple seasons. And I love that shit. It's just fucking clean. It's, of course, it's Mr. Cartoon is like such a famous figure, not only in LA, but in the Hispanic culture. So it's definitely something that I loved. Here are some examples of merch. So again, that LA icon is fucking dope. I think that's fucking amazing. You see the logo with the C and the ship on the bottom of their shorts. And then, that's perfect right there. So up right here, there's the hat with the letter C and the compass. That alone, just the C with the compass design inside of it, that's pretty strong on its own. I think that would have been great without the ship. The fact that they added the ship is like, one thing that I learned about logo design when I was in school is that if you shrink a logo and you can no longer tell what it is, that means it's too complicated. And this is probably an improvement from their last redesign because they oversimplified everything in their last redesign. But this is now a little bit too complicated. So they've now swung completely the other way. Keep in mind, they're probably not using this logo, like the full logo with the Los Angeles Clippers and the boat and the basketball and the compass. They're probably not using that in a lot of places. They're probably just using it in places that could be legible. Here's a rendering of the court, the Intuit Dome. So this is a brand new stadium that Ballmer just built for the Clippers. I like it. I mean, like, it definitely speaks to that nautical theme. The longitude and latitude at the bottom, the coordinates at the bottom, I think that's a nice touch. I wonder if that is the exact location of the court or maybe just a rough estimate of the stadium. Okay, so I typed in the coordinates into Google and it shows it's the coordinates to the LAX. So there's probably a story behind that. There's probably some meaning behind that. It's probably a little bit more personal to the owner, but it shows that it's a specific maybe terminal at LAX. I'm not sure. I'll throw it up on the screen just so you guys can see. I'm interested to know the story behind that. Like what was the choice behind those coordinates? I wonder, or maybe someone fucked up. Maybe it was supposed to be the coordinates to the actual stadium and they accidentally, or maybe they're just using the coordinates to this terminal for now. Either way, it's a nice touch, right? It leans into that nautical theme a little bit more. Here's some more examples of the merch with just that LA on it and a closer look on the C right there on the sleeve. So I love the way that the C looks. I know that, like, maybe without the ship and without the Los Angeles above it with it pointing to the N, maybe it's hard to tell that it's a compass, but I do like it. They can maybe sort of add a little bit more to it to feel like a compass. Maybe like add like one of those stars. So like on compasses, you know how they have that 4-pointed star. Maybe they can add like a very faint design under it. That could be cool. But from here, let's talk about why I think they missed. So as I mentioned earlier, Inglewood is primarily, black and brown. The fact that already they had like Mr. Cartoon design this jersey, and this is him holding up this jersey here. So this is the black one. They have both a black and a white one. I love the use of his script. This is sort of a script that he designed. Very minimal use of color just on like the sleeves there. I thought it was amazing. Plus it sort of speaks to the culture in LA, right? Like this is more LA than the Lakers. And even as a Laker fan, I feel more comfortable saying that. I sort of got used to it. I was just getting used to this logo, and then they do this rebrand to something that's definitely a little bit more. It gives off Richie Rich for sure, like yachts and money. So I don't know, like I don't know if it speaks to the LA culture as much as this last one did. I was able to find some more concepts on Reddit from Mr. Cartoon. Keep in mind, these are just on Reddit, and I'm not even exactly sure if they are originally from Mr. Cartoon, but this is what the post was, and it was posted on the LA Clippers Reddit account. You see the top left there, that's the logo that made it onto the jersey. I love the ball next to it, so that's sort of like a Mr. Cartoon version of the last logo, of the last redesign. That is fucking sick. I love that LA too. Like that LA is really clean, really nice. And then there's some different variations of Clippers logos here. So I do like the one right in the center that sort of puts together everything. You see Los Angeles Clippers. So it's kind of like the combination of the left side and the right side up here. And then you have the LA icon here at the bottom. This they actually used. I'm pretty sure I saw this on hoodies and t-shirts. Here's another concept of the LA Clippers logo. So this I just found also on the LA Clippers Reddit. So this was sort of a different take on the nautical design, right? So you see the big ship wheel with the rope and the ball in the middle. I think that's a pretty nice icon. Like it doesn't use the sort of compass idea, but like the fact that it can stand alone as branding for the Clippers. And then here's one more, which could have been maybe like a starting place to the current logo. So this could have been like one of the early mock-ups that they did for the current logo. And I really like this sort of 4-pointed star here. Or I guess this is an 8-pointed star. But I really like the design here to where you see the C in the back. I can see maybe this sort of design creeping its way back into the new design and sort of using this as sort of like a separate icon for the brand. I think it's just more legible. Again, if I shrink this down, you can tell what it is. But I think the colors are very reminiscent, especially that big C there. It's reminiscent to the Chicago Cubs. So it's good, I guess, that they sort of like redesigned it a little bit and they put a little bit more around it. This was clean. I mean, like you can clearly tell it's a basketball in the middle. I'm pretty sure it would have still lined up with the Los Angeles N in the top. So I don't know. Don't hate me or do hate me. I don't care. Leave comments down below. Like, do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? I think that it's just one of those things that when you're redesigning something, and maybe this is why the Lakers haven't done it in so long. I know that they've been under the same ownership for a long time, you know, with Jeannie Buss and her brother and then her late dad now. But it's all been sort of the same ownership, and so they haven't had the need to rebrand the team or redesign the logo or anything. But when they do decide to do it, they need to know that, like, hey, like, what is representative of Los Angeles? What can you use to really incorporate the community here? That was one of the things that I think was a big miss, is the fact that if you're going to redesign something for the city of Inglewood with a primarily black and brown community, this sort of like yacht lifestyle is not typical. It's not relatable to the audience there. So, I mean, like, I don't think people are going to care. This is me just being very, very hypercritical of everything. It's a clean design. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a little bit more complex than it needed to be, but they definitely could have gone more relatable to the city. That's going to be it. That's. I'm just going to end there before I sort of put my foot in my mouth. Leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree. Keep an eye out on my Patreon. There's going to be new content coming there pretty soon. I'm working on new presets as well as editing photos for project number 3. So I'm really excited to get that out to you guys. I appreciate to every one of you guys that are subscribed to my Patreon now. So thank you. Other than that, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please leave us a good review. It really helps us out. Helps us out. I keep saying us. Helps me out. There's no us here. It's just me. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you again for watching. I'll talk to you guys next week. Keep shooting. Peace.